Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Vivek. I'm going to have a movers and shakers discussion and dialogue with Christopher Wehner, who's managing director for BMW Asia. Both of us are located in Singapore, and we are going to chat about the most relevant topic in Asia Pacific today, which is one of digital retailing and the other one of electric vehicle. Welcome, Christopher, and thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Yeah, happy to be here. Pleasure to be here with you, Vivek.
Thank you so much. So I think first, let's talk about what is most relevant today. So COVID-19 pandemic actually changed a lot. It changed more than anything else, consumer behavior when it came to buying cars, and digital retailing became all the more important in the current crisis. Uh, do you see some of this behavior will remain for long term, or do you see this is just like a blip, and once the vaccine is out, once we, let's say, start our life as usual, some of these things would go away?
No, I don't. I don't think we will come back to the life which we were used before COVID. And I think COVID only accelerated the whole digitalization of every business. And this is why I do not think that the digitalization will go away and that we will live after COVID in the same way as we lived before. Definitely not. I think it changed the attitude of many people and how we do business. And that means digitalization will remain the topic even after vaccination of COVID.
Yeah, so true. I think it just gave that shot in the arm that was required. Everybody was talking about
Yeah.
digitalization, but they were not finding a good enough reason to start it, and probably
No.
COVID was the one. So, when you started this journey to go suddenly from offline to online, what were the kind of hurdles you faced? Was there any particular customer segment which latched on to this change more readily than others?
Yeah. So fortunately, we were well prepared for the lockdown. We had already our digital showroom in place, and despite the fact that we couldn't do any real test drives or that we couldn't deliver any cars, yeah, we were capable to collect orders from our customers. And if we look to the different segments of our vehicles, yeah, customers for the 3 Series, a customer for the 5 Series or 7 Series, there were no differences between the different customers for our vehicles. I think the difference between the customer is more the attitude of the customer. Yeah, what attitude do they want to have still after the COVID crisis to come to the showroom, or whether they have a little bit more of the fear to go to stay away from the showroom because of the COVID thing. Yeah, I think it's more attitude of the customer, but not typical for any customer vehicle classification.
Right, very interesting. So we also noticed that Asia Pacific is not really, the trailblazer when it comes to adopting technology, especially in these areas. So do you see any peculiarities that OEMs should be aware of when they go for digitization especially in Asia Pacific?
I think in principle, if I look here to Asia Pacific, is that people are very open to the new technology, and people are already very digital here in a way, and especially when it comes to buying. If you look here to Singapore, yeah, everybody is already ordering food via delivery service, yeah, and ordering it. So
Correct.
I think here in Asia Pacific, yeah, people are already used to use online services, online delivery, and I think this is definitely a good base where we can build our business on. And of course, I think starting delivery service digitalization started with low price goods in a way. Yeah, and then the more trust, yeah, the consumers get into new sales channels, yeah, the more it will go upwards to more expensive products. Yeah? And this is why we are already a lot of things doing for online selling, for online information and everything. Yeah, what encourages customers to buy online.
Right. That's true. So, how does it uh, impact the dealerships as they run today? What would the staff and the entire dealership network, which is more used to doing the business in the brick way rather than the click way, how should they shape up to basically deliver what the customers want in say in next 5 years, 10 years? How does that pan out?
I think the role of the dealership will change in the next 5 years. Yeah, and I think we have seen this in the past years already. Ten years ago, customers came to our dealerships 7 times on average before they purchased the car. Yeah, 5 years, 4 times. Yeah, and nowadays I would estimate it's roughly 2 times that people visited our showroom. So what does it mean? And I think there are two factors responsible for that. First of all, yeah, there is a lot of information available now. Yeah, the whole information phase, yeah, where the customer decides which car does he want, which equipment, etc., etc. Our customers are doing it online, via our own web pages, via digital showrooms, on social media, yeah, or on other web pages. So they collect already all the data, and then they come well informed into our showroom. So that means, we have to see, that we give them, when they arrive in the showroom, that we know, what car are they interested in, that we have already the data, the configuration of their car and everything else, to give them then the right information, what they need in that phase. Yeah? And this is why I think we need different capabilities in the dealerships. Yeah, for example, it's a big difference for sales consultants whether he is doing physical consultancy in a way, or whether he is doing it online. Yeah, so and these are the areas where we have to change. Yeah, that we go more and more for online capabilities. Yeah, and then when the customer comes into the showroom, yeah, then of course we have to have the right IT technology in place, that we know everything, yeah, and that we can connect with the customer and can deliver the right information to him.
True. So, what will the dealerships in APAC look like, say, 5 years or 10 years from now? Will they look the same, or what will be the changes?
I think they will look a little bit differently. Yeah, because as I tried to describe it, what is the reason why our customers should still come to the showroom? Yeah? And I think there are two main reasons. First of all, to see and feel the product in reality,
Correct.
because it's a complete different thing if you see the car on a picture or on a web page. Yeah, it's much more transparent if you see the real dimensions, and if you can feel the leather and the steering wheel and everything like that, and if you can compare vehicles in the dealerships. Yeah. So and for that reason, people will come to the dealerships also to make a test drive, which is very
Correct.
important. If you spend so much money here in, for example, Vivek here in Singapore for a
Yes.
car, yeah, then of course you want to touch, feel, and drive it. Yeah. So I think this will stay in future, that people will come to the dealership in the future. Yeah, and I think it's also important for the customers to feel and experience the brand in our dealership. Yeah. So, but then for other reasons, let me say, to collect all the information and things, this you can do in a very comfortable way at home. Yeah. And then if you take, for example, after sales service, yeah, I think the future for after sales is more pickup and delivery service,
Hmm.
yeah, from the doorstep from our customers. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
probably the more convenient way. And this is, for example, I see in future, maybe we will see that sales and after sales is separated. Yeah, and
Correct.
maybe we will see that we will have some test drive centers where people can do the test drive in a convenient way to compare.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you feel about it, how you would like to buy the car the next time here in Singapore, Vivek.
So I think we also think on the similar tracks. What we think is the size and the prominence of the showroom as a physical space in the entire buying is definitely needs to be redefined. There would be more showrooms, more conveniently located, and they don't necessarily be need to be equipped
Yeah.
with the entire 3S facilities, and they may be, you may see a disintegration between the sales side of the showrooms versus service and parts side of the showroom, which currently the trend is it's all integrated. So maybe that would give way. uh, we also see that IT would play a very important role in most of the showrooms today. The dealer staff is trained to uh, have strike a conversation, trained on products, trained on overcoming objections, etc. But more than that, they would now need to be trained on how to use the IT information that the customer is likely to bring in, and how to probably continue the discussion with the customer from where he has left the digital trade. I
Yes.
think that part of it
Yes.
is most important. If
Yes.
I have done, let's say, spent 2 hours on your website to check out what I want, and if I walk in the showroom and if a salesperson comes and says that, Vivek, what do you want and what are you looking for, my 2 hours are wasted.
Yes.
If the
Yes. Yes.
salesperson says that I know what you did and this is what I have to show
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
probably that would be more seamless. And that is
Yes.
where we see a biggest gap in the current showrooms and the future showrooms.
Vivek, I completely agree. This will be the future, and this is our target to provide our customer with a so-called seamless online and offline customer journey. Yeah, that we know all the information from his digital touch point, which he did at home. And then he comes to the dealership. We know already which car he wanted, which equipment he is interested in, and can continue, yeah, on the point the customer comes to us. Yeah, and I think the enablers are the right IT infrastructure, but also the right IT capabilities of our sales consultants, that they can do online consultation, yeah, and that they know already how to handle the customer in the online world and in the offline world. And this will be exactly the future, and this is where we work on.
Interesting. So I think with after digital retail, let's go to the more a bit different topic, which is electrification. But again, this is another topic that is pretty hot in Southeast Asia now.
Yes.
Now we observe that you are as a plug-in hybrid, which is one of your product, and you're a leader in that. So what do you think? Suddenly, we don't see normal electric vehicles being sold in Southeast Asia as much, but there is high uptake rate of plug-in hybrid vehicles. So what do you think are the levers or interest in plug-in hybrid when customers are actually adopting to plug-in hybrids more than say a normal battery electric vehicle?
Yeah. I think we will see for a longer time all the technologies from combustion engine, plug-in hybrid, and fully electric vehicles. Yeah? And this is why we believe, yeah, we give our customers the so-called power of choice, yeah, according to their customer profile and needs. Yeah? I think plug-in hybrid are a very good technology for the start of electrifications, yeah, because you still have your combustion engine on board, yeah, if you want to do longer distances. And if you come to the city to drive in the inner city circle, yeah, then you can drive in the fully electric mode. Yeah, and I think this gives the customer the trust into the technology, yeah, that he still has the combustion engine on board and can gain his first experience with the electric engine on board. And this is why I think plug-in hybrid technology is a great technology, yeah, to start the electrification.
True, that's true. So Uh, what do you see are the bottlenecks in EV adoption in Southeast Asia? Would you see that it's just the price, or is it something else? Is it lesser push from government prices?
Yeah,
What do you see is the current bottleneck, or rather
yeah.
the biggest bottleneck?
I think there are some bottlenecks, and you mentioned already some. Of course, it's first of all it's the infrastructure. Yeah, we need the charging infrastructure to give people the trust that they can charge the cars and have always enough energy in the battery. Yeah. So then, of course, you mentioned we need an affordable price of the cars. Electrified cars are still a little bit more expensive than the pure combustion cars, yes. And to start it all, yeah, and this is our experience, what we have seen in many countries. So you need some subsidies of the government for the vehicles and for the infrastructure. And all these three factors are connected. To describe it a little bit, if we would have, for example, a well established infrastructure here, yeah, then we could reduce the battery capacity in our vehicles, yeah, because people can charge it everywhere. And that
Right.
would reduce our cost dramatically. Yeah, and then we could lower the prices for the electric vehicles. Yeah, and this shows how connected these factors are. And to come to a good infrastructure, yeah, we would need maybe some more incentives from the governments, yeah, for the charging infrastructure company to establish it. Yeah, and it
Correct.
shows this whole circle has to come into place. Yeah, and if all parties and companies work together, yeah, then we really can start this circle, and then it will accelerate definitely.
True. So, for us to start the circle, maybe the OEMs and charging operators need to engage with policymakers and regulators. I think all three need to come together. So, do you
Yeah.
see any kind of developments happening in the Southeast Asian markets? Do you think, uh, maybe the governments or the OEMs or the charging station operators are missing something, which probably once done, electric vehicles may take off?
Yeah, I think it's starting more and more now. We have already some countries in Southeast Asia where we have a high share of electrified vehicles. Yeah, like in Malaysia, for example. Yeah, so here in Singapore, the government started now with a new VES scheme. Yeah, to getting or that they really encourage customer to buy electric vehicles, which is a good sign. Yeah, and this we definitely have to continue. And we work together here in Singapore, for example, with green lots, yeah, to bring more charging stations to condominiums. Yeah, and this will definitely encourage customer to try out the new technology. I think when it comes to charging, yeah, you need 2 points where our customer can charge the car, and the one is at home, yeah, and the
Correct.
other one is where people work, yeah. And if we would have already on these two location charging stations, then the
Right.
step for the customer to go to an electrified vehicle is not as big, yeah, because he can charge it everywhere. And uh, living here in Singapore, yeah, in Singapore, people have a daily mileage of only 50 kilometers
Yeah.
per day. Yeah,
It's
and
not
then you
much.
know that Singapore is a perfect city for electro
Absolutely.
mobility.
Absolutely. Right. And maybe finally, how do you see fuel cell vehicles? Do you see them to be relevant in Southeast Asia? Do you see maybe some companies may leapfrog from IC engine to fuel cell? Do you see it that way?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, we see already that fuel cell are the next technology which could come. I personally believe that first of all we will see the electrification. Yeah, why? Because with fuel cell technology, it's even much more expensive to establish a fuel cell
Mm.
charging infrastructure, yeah, by
Mm.
far more expensive than the electric infrastructure. And if you see this hen-egg problem in a way, yeah, that the charging infrastructure for fuel cell companies, they need a high amount of vehicles, yeah, to have a profitable business case out of it. And we, as a car manufacturer, we would need the infrastructure before we can sell any vehicles, because else
Correct.
customers would not buy our vehicles.
Correct.
And if you see how this hen-egg problem is already very difficult with electrified vehicles, but for electrified vehicles, the charging infrastructure is much cheaper. Then
Correct.
you know how big the problems will be for the fuel cell technology. And maybe fuel cell will first come for commercial vehicles, maybe. But I think we will see the electrified future first.
Fantastic. It was wonderful talking to you, Christopher. It was thanks for your time, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you, Vivek. It was a pleasure. Thanks.